Living on your own without romance, to be honest, you can still live just fine. You survive normally. But here's a pretty harsh reality. Your brain doesn't come out completely unscathed after those long, lonely months and years. Looking from the outside, you look like the absolute picture of an independent adult. Money hits your bank account regularly. Your gym routine is on point. You never miss a workout. You proudly tell the whole world. So, I love this freedom. Being single is the ultimate truth. You enthusiastically share post after post mocking relationships, calling love a prison, and firmly stating that your dog at home is the only partner you will ever need. And yet, life isn't that simple. When night falls, and the room sinks into terrifying silence, a sudden cold, hollow ache hits you right in the chest. You flinch, and quickly brush it off. You try to convince yourself that it's just a fleeting moment of boredom, or simply because you had an exhausting day at work. But you are dead wrong. Seriously, dead wrong. That is definitely not simple boredom. That is the exact moment your nervous system goes into a full-blown emergency survival mode. Because deep down, your brain falsely believes you've been abandoned all alone. In a dangerous, desolate wasteland, with no one by your side. Look around us. We live in an era that worships the so-called lone wolf style. Day in and day out, social media feeds your mind with ideas like, needing a shoulder to lean on is a sign of weakness. Committed relationships are just a form of codependency disease. Living in total isolation, needing no one, is the peak of mental strength. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent his entire life proving one thing: that mindset is absolute garbage. His research exposed the raw truth. The human brain never treats romantic isolation as a peaceful solo vacation. On the contrary, it processes loneliness in the exact same way it processes a physical wound. If you stubbornly live too long without romantic affection, your brain actually rewires itself to protect you from vague, invisible threats. And what's the result? You unintentionally turn into a version of yourself that is constantly stressed out, hypersensitive, and extremely easy to hurt. Now, let's break down step by step what actually happens inside your head when your romance tank is left completely empty for way too long. 1. Your internal security guard panics with. When you lack a deep romantic connection, your amygdala, which is the brain's threat detection center, immediately goes into full overdrive. In a person who is in love, this part of the brain stays pretty calm. But when you're lonely for a long time, your brain automatically assumes you are stranded, with no one to back you up. So from that point on, you start seeing danger everywhere you look. You walk into a lively party or coffee shop, but instead of seeing friendly smiles, your brain translates small micro-expressions into rejection, judgment, or hostility. A coworker makes a harmless joke, yet you lie awake for 3 nights straight, analyzing if they secretly hate you. You think you're just being realistic and cautious, but in reality, your brain is hallucinating threats simply because it feels completely unsafe. 2. Your body leaks stress hormones. Like a broken pipe, Professor Cacioppo discovered something scary. The absence of a partner causes your morning levels of cortisol, the harmful stress hormone, to skyrocket. Do you know what cortisol is? It's the exact chemical that floods your body when you're running for your life from a wild predator. On the other hand, when you have a loving partner, a simple warm hug, or even just sitting quietly next to them, triggers the release of oxytocin, a miracle hormone that crushes cortisol instantly. Without that emotional buffer, your body stays trapped in a perpetual state of fight or flight. The result is, you wake up exhausted every morning, your sleep quality drops off a cliff, and your immune system takes a massive hit. You are literally wearing your body out from the inside out, just because your brain feels biologically abandoned. 3. Your empathy centers gather dust wick. The human brain is hardwired for co-regulation, which is the natural ability to sync our emotions with the people we are closest to. However, when you decide to lock your heart away for too long, the neural pathways responsible for decoding emotional signals begin to weaken and degrade. You lose your natural edge. Reading other people's feelings becomes an uphill battle, turning everyday social interactions into an awkward, exhausting chore. And so, a vicious cycle begins. The longer you stay lonely, the worse you get at connecting. And the worse you get at connecting, the deeper you retreat into your own lonely cave. 4. Dopamine starvation and substitute addictions. romance, and intimacy are major sources of dopamine, the miracle chemical that gives you motivation and excitement. When you cut off that natural supply, your brain goes into emotional bankruptcy, and it frantically looks for cheap, digital substitutes. This is why people who have been single for a long time suddenly develop intense, unhealthy obsessions with becoming a workaholic, playing video games all night long, working out at the gym with frantic intensity, or mindlessly scrolling through social media for 6 hours a day. In reality, your brain is desperately starving for genuine human warmth, and to survive, it forces you to gorge on these digital fast foods, just to fill the hollow void inside. 5. Your physical pain system lights up lit off. When brain scanning chronically lonely people, scientists witnessed a chilling reality. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex lit up brightly. Do you know what that region of the brain is? It's the exact same part that fires up when you slam your hand in a car door or break a bone. That proves one thing: your brain doesn't know the difference between emotional rejection and physical torture. To the brain, pain is pain. So, when you try to convince yourself that I'm totally fine on my own, on the inside, your neural pathways are actually screaming in agony. 6. Your logic and decision-making get crushed full. Prefrontal cortex. The area responsible for logic and long-term planning requires a stable emotional foundation to function properly. But when your brain is constantly burning all its energy on threat detection and managing stress from isolation, your willpower capacity gets completely drained. You easily give in to junk food. You constantly procrastinate on your biggest goals. You make impulsive, reckless financial decisions. Have you been blaming yourself for lacking discipline? That's not it. In reality, your brain is simply too emotionally exhausted from loneliness to exercise proper self-control. All of this brings us to Cacioppo's biggest warning: the loneliness paradox. When your brain enters this defensive state, on one hand, it desperately craves connection, but on the other hand, it fears connection more than anything else. Deep down, you want a loving relationship more than anyone, but ironically, the moment someone tries to get close, your amygdala screams, "It's a trap, run away." You start nitpicking and finding flaws in the other person. You convince yourself that they're going to hurt you anyway, and so you push them away before they ever get close to you. It's heartbreaking how you unwittingly turn into the architect of your own lonely prison. You are completely blind to the fact that your rewired, lonely brain is secretly sabotaging your personal happiness just to keep you safe inside your cold, lonely fortress. But my friend, take a deep breath, because this is definitely not a life sentence. Our incredible brain possesses a remarkable ability called neuroplasticity. This means it can change, adapt, and heal the moment you decide to change your behavior and your environment. To break this toxic cycle, you need to 1. Disarm your security guard. Wake up and stop listening to the paranoid, baseless fears in your head. 2. Choose courage. Force yourself out of your comfort zone, lower your defensive walls, and accept the risks of being vulnerable. 3. Start with baby steps. Stop sitting around waiting for a flawless soulmate to fall from the sky. Start with small daily interactions. Look people in the eye when you talk, and stop treating vulnerability like a weakness. That cold ache in your chest late at night is not something to ignore or tolerate. It is a biological fire alarm screaming at you to fix your life right now. Listen to the alarm. Drop the lone wolf act. Take a leap of faith, and go find your tribe. If there is one core message John Cacioppo's research leaves us with, it is this: the human brain was never built to thrive in isolation. Connection, love, and genuine emotional support are fundamental parts of being human. If you've been walking alone in the dark for a long time, please remember that your story doesn't end here. The brain is remarkably adaptable. Healthy relationships, true friendships, family bonds, or even small moments of kindness are enough to start building new neural pathways. Your story isn't over simply because this chapter has been lonely. And if you are fortunate enough to have someone who genuinely cares about you right now, never take that connection for granted. Nurture it. Protect it. Because sometimes, The most valuable things in life are the quiet, everyday relationships that keep our minds and hearts healthy every single day. Shout out of the day. Today's featured comment comes from Creed on Leave, who wrote, I want to especially tell you how much you have helped me. I used to have very low self-esteem, but your videos have made me realize my worth. I am not where I want to be yet, but I am far from where I used to be. Thank you so much for finding value here. Keep working on yourself and becoming better every single day, without needing anyone's permission.